My mom is moving from Los Angeles to Franklin, Tennessee, and we are going to be driving cross country with her two pups, Charlie and Ruger. Now we're going to be doing this in a 2025 Tesla.
2026 Tesla Y.
Excuse me, 2026 Tesla Y with FSD, and it's got the latest upgrade as of today, which I believe is 14.22. And we're going to try to do FSD all the way there. No hands, no feet, let the car do its thing. I'm curious to see what this is going to be like in a cross-country road trip in a Tesla. Take me to Franklin, Tennessee. All right, so what it does is when we're going cross-country, it's giving me a list of all of the superchargers that we're going to stop at along the way and what the battery percentage will be by the time we get there and how long we have to charge. So here we'll be at 21%. We have to charge to 9 minutes. At least I think that's what it means. Okay, let's get going. This is the first one. So let's see, we have 264 miles of range. We charged up to 80% last night. And then, let's see, this is 136 miles to where we're going. So I'm curious to see how much range we have left when we actually get there. It is a very strange sensation to be a passenger in the car while you're in the driver's seat and having no interaction with the road whatsoever. But once you get used to it, it's actually very freeing, and it is a wonderful experience, especially for me in the morning, to have a cup of coffee and just sit here and enjoy my cup of coffee while I'm an observer of this thing driving itself. Ready for a coffee?
I don't really want a coffee so much as I want to go to the bathroom.
I think these two want to stop too. So the Starbucks parking lot is all the way over there, but the Tesla decided to park us all the way over here.
Well, it won't go unless you have your seatbelt on. You know, this car is very polite. More so than I am when I'm driving.
It's still so strange to me to look down and see the steering wheel going on its own.
Well, and when it parks, that's the strangest thing. But it goes all over the place when it parks. I have to give it a name. I haven't thought of a name yet.
If you're watching and you have a name suggestion for this red Tesla Model Y, let us know down in the comments. And that's how we got the name for one of our vehicles. We'll see what happens.
One that suits me, not one that suits Joe.
Yeah, it's one that suits Mom. You said there was a dog mode on this. So when we go inside, we can turn it on and dogs have air conditioning?
Or heat, whatever, yes. Then the screen shows up and the screen will say, don't worry. I haven't done it yet, but it's something like, don't worry, I'm climate controlled and whatever, so people don't think that we've locked dogs into a hot car. It's very great.
I will say my only complaint about full self-drive, especially on a long distance road trip like this, is you still have to pay attention to the road because it is the supervised version. I'm really waiting. I think the killer app is going to be when you can start using your phone or other devices while you're driving and the car is doing its thing, you can do your own. That would make things a lot nicer because it just gets boring sitting there staring at the road the whole time. There are different driving modes for this. Right now we're on chill and we're going 72 and a 70. I'll here put it on standard. So it'll speed up a little bit. And then there's, let's see, hurry, and Mad Max. Have you noticed a difference in the modes besides the speed difference?
Oh yes, it changes lanes so fast. If you're in Mad Max, you go from the right lane to the left lane like that, almost as good as I can do it. I'm a great lane changer.
Yeah, that's because you don't look.
I do look. But I don't think we should be on Mad Max.
Okay, well, what would you like to be on?
Let's just go to Hurry. Oh, let's see what Sloth is like. We never did Sloth. Sloth is so slow, it'll be like an older woman with white hair, an old woman on Sloth. I always go Hurry or Mad Max, but it goes the speed limit, no more, no less. So let's get out of that and go back up to Hurry.
We're about 6 miles from our next destination, and it says we have 76 miles left, so let's say 70. When we left LA, we should have had 128 miles left by the time we got here if it stayed to its calculations, which it did not, so we're way off. What my mom and I decided we're going to do is try to charge up to 100%, or at least close to it, because the next stop has us getting there with a 10% charge, and I'm not sure I trust us to only have 10% left by the time we get there. So what we can do is we can go in here and let's see, charging. So we can change this to 100%. So let's turn that all the way up. One-time charge. Okay, so we're almost down to 20%. See what happens. The GPS doesn't always take us on the best route, because we could have taken the highway and just gotten off here at the exit, but instead we're taking a side road to get there.
I could get tacos. $10 to charge up to 100?
No, that's to continue our trip. So it wants us just to charge for 10 minutes, but I don't trust it. Well, this really isn't the nicest place to be hanging out waiting for the car to charge. Well, it says we're going to have 19% by the time we get to the next charger. Do you think we go for it?
We go at 20%. Let's do it now. Let's go now.
Okay, I'll go unplug us. There we go. Oh, it closed itself.
This was such a fast charge, though. We've never charged up that fast before. Maybe we should have kept charging, but we'll see how the next station goes.
So we have, what is it, 135 miles to our next stop.
And we have 228 miles of charge. Whoa, look how much gas is. $5.69 a gallon. And what did that cost us to charge? And we're in California, so it would be high. $16.24.
Well, we're pulling into our second Tesla supercharger of the trip. And so far, what my mom and I have noticed is that the Tesla is not correctly estimating the percentage of battery that we'll have left by the time we arrive. Had we only charged to what it told us to at the last stop, we'd be pulling in here with about 4 or 5% battery. which is pretty low, and we'd essentially be running on the electric vehicle version of fumes.
Well, and I want to interrupt and add that the Tesla wouldn't know that we're going on the hurry mode or the Mad Max, or that we're using heat or running music, etc., all of which use more electricity.
Yeah, so good point. We're going faster in hurry mode, so it's using more electric power. So I think for us, the standard is going to be every time we charge, we'll charge well past what it's suggesting, at least 10%. Give us a buffer.
Do you want to connect it, or do you
Sure,
want me to get
I'll take care of it.
Okay.
We're at our fourth charge of the day. It is currently 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and this trip is going a lot slower than I expected. There is a lot of time spent charging, and I think that's one of the downsides of driving an electric car cross country, because usually when we're driving a fuel vehicle, pull in, fill up, takes you 5-10 minutes. You can run in, go to the bathroom, come out, leave, and you're good for that full tank. This fill up is taking us about 45 minutes to have enough to get to Gallup, New Mexico. The other problem I'm finding is, so far, most of the Tesla charging stations don't have a bathroom. So they're not part of a truck stop or anything where they always have bathrooms and you can run in and go to the bathroom. We've had most of them just in parking lots, and there isn't an accessible bathroom where we are. So we have to go somewhere else to go to the bathroom, which takes even more time. I have had to take it off of self-driving twice because it continues to have a problem finding the correct on-ramp for a freeway. So that's happened twice today, where it went right past an on-ramp we should have gone on, and it wanted to take surface streets or go backwards to get off and then get back on the highway going the direction we needed to. It's almost like it didn't even know that on-ramp was there. Otherwise, it's been incredible. It's very nice to sit here and just cruise along and let it do its thing.
I'm going to interrupt and say that we've only gone off self-driving for a total of about 2 minutes.
Yes.
In over 400 miles.
This is true. It's day 2, and we ended last night in Gallup, New Mexico. We're hoping to get to Oklahoma City today. The whole battery situation, if we leave it on standard, because we're going slower, we're using less electricity, and we're arriving at our destination within 1% or 2% of what it calculated. Another thing is, I think the Achilles heel of the system right now is the navigation. The missing on-ramps, issues with going into the right driveway or other things, it's all because that's where the navigation is taking it. Otherwise, the car has been flawless. So I think if they figure out the navigation thing, then we'll all be good.
8 o'clock in the morning, heading towards Santa Fe. Maybe we can have some really good Mexican food before we continue on our way. We can charge. We'll be at 17% by the time we get there. We're losing miles fast. We started at 314. We're down to 301 already. We must be using a lot of electricity to warm up the car when it's only 28 degrees.
My mom just noticed a discrepancy with the directions, and when I looked at the navigation, I see a big problem. And this is what I was talking about earlier with their bad navigation. So this is having us go to a charging station all the way up here. So here's Albuquerque, here's Santa Fe. It's having us go from Albuquerque up to Santa Fe and then back down to the 40 just to charge, rather than getting a charge in Albuquerque and keeping going. I was able to add this as a stop. Once I added this as a stop, it bypasses going up to Santa Fe and keeps us on the 40. But I still don't know why it wanted us to go all the way up to Santa Fe when that takes us all the way out of our way. I think it was a 50-mile detour up just to get there. My mom and I are gonna go grab breakfast, and these two have dog mode enabled, so they'll be comfortable while we're in there grabbing a bite. Well, we made it to Texas. So far today, self-driving has been fantastic. And I will say, the journey so far, we haven't had a single time we've had to intervene because there was a dangerous thing. And actually today while we were driving, it jumped out of a lane and then back in to avoid a dead deer in the middle of the road. and also did that for a couple big potholes.
It wasn't a deer. It was a much smaller roadkill, but the same difference. But I want to interrupt Joe and say that we did have to intervene a couple of times when we needed to make a pit stop.
Yes.
And a pit stop isn't on the navigation. So I wonder how that's going to be in Robotaxi. If you're driving somewhere and you have to stop in the middle.
Yeah,
something for Elon to fix.
If you just leave it on self-driving, you can't say, hey, pull over right here because I need to go to the bathroom. You actually have to take it out of self-driving or know ahead of time and add that place as a stop. It would be nice if you could just hit a button to say bathroom break and it finds the nearest bathroom or truck stop or whatever for you to pull into. The other nice thing is
maybe it does and we didn't know to do it.
Well, then
Let's
someone
try it next time.
Someone can leave a comments down below of all the stuff we don't know because we're beginners at this. How you doing, pups? I would say that's the best parking job that's done on this whole trip. They put us right at the front door and backed right in. We stopped at a supercharger last night and it split the lines. I don't know why. And then remember that time we parked at the supercharger and it parked us in the wrong spot?
Yes.
They're all the way over there, but for some reason this is going. Where's this going? Okay. I had to intervene. It's going in the wrong direction. He was going to drive out of Buc-ee's, and I don't know. I'm guessing he was going to go around the whole thing and then come in this entrance over here. I don't know why.
I don't know why I just didn't come in and come in here.
Yeah. Okay, charging has started and you got a notification on your phone.
I always do.
That was a perfect example of what I was talking about with regards to the navigation. It brought us into Buc-ee's, the wrong entrance. We should have come in right over there. And then it proceeded, rather than driving through the parking lot to the chargers, which we could see when we came in, it drove us around to the side of Buc-ee's, and then it was going to leave Buc-ee's, and I don't know where it was going to go from there.
No.
But I had to take over and then drive us over here. And even when I drove us over here, I was going to start self-drive again just to see if it was going to park and pick a station. But it wanted to go back out onto the road. So when Tesla can't even get the directions right to their own chargers, that's a problem that needs to get addressed. By the way, it wouldn't be a road trip if we didn't stop and charge at Buc-ee's. We're starting off our day 3 morning at the Tesla supercharger, and there was a severe thunderstorm that rolled through this morning. So we were waiting a little bit for that to pass, but it looks like it's heading east, so we may run into that later. Now on our way over to the supercharger, we passed a school bus that was stopping to pick up some kids. The car, it was great. It stopped and it didn't start again until the stop sign went away. So no problem there. And it left plenty of room between the car and the school bus. So it did a very good job with that. The car doesn't necessarily recognize when we're in a construction zone. So like this morning, we were driving through a construction zone and the speed limit for that was 55. The car saw it, it changed the speed to 55 to show you what the speed limit was, but full self-driving kept going at 70 miles an hour. And then I had to manually slow it down to get within the speed limit. So I think that is a big flaw and kind of dangerous because some of these construction zones can get tight, and if you get caught speeding in them, that's a hefty fine, usually double. We hit the storm that passed us this morning, and the rain is so bad at the moment that the car has slowed down to 65 in a 70 zone, and we got a little pop-up warning that this max speed was going to be limited. So the Tesla is having problems getting into the spot for some reason.
I bet the cameras are messed up with the rain.
Well, it hasn't said anything. This thing is just going back and forth at this point. Is it going to make it this time? We probably did the dance 10 or 12 times. Oh, no.
Oh, I'm going to take over.
No, I want to see what it does now. We've already invested this long. We've been here for a couple minutes while it's just been going back and forth. I think you're just going to have to...
See, there's something back here.
Why don't you just take over? Right now it's saying we have 249 miles until empty on the battery. But our next destination, we're gonna get there with 11%, and it's 143 miles away. Somehow this is getting the percentage correct when we arrive at our destination, but it can't seem to update the mileage for how many miles are left in the battery. So you always think, oh, we've got 250 miles to go, but in reality you have
160.
Yeah, 160 or so. I think that's kind of ridiculous. They're, just like a gas vehicle, when you're driving, if you drive more aggressively or less aggressively, the trip meter or the range to empty meter will change based on your average MPG, which this does not do.
Perhaps that will be another upgrade. One thing that I've loved about the Tesla, and I've only had it since August, is I keep getting upgrades to correct things that I had thought were difficult, and they get corrected. So I think they'll keep correcting everything, and all the input they get, the better.
I certainly hope so. So despite my going around and cleaning off all the cameras, we're still getting a warning that we need to clear all the dirt, debris, and water off the camera, but there's no way to clear the water off when it's raining. So I don't know how you square that one up.
Well, it says that the vision is degraded, but it still drove perfectly during that time.
I would agree with that. It has not come off of FSD because of the rain, or at least not yet. And like my mom said, it's been perfect all the way. The rain has slowed to just a light drizzle now, and the road there's no standing water or anything. But the car has not sped up. So it dropped down in what it says was its maximum speed twice. So we're going 65 and a 75. And there's no way for us to speed the car back up. My mom tried putting her foot on the accelerator, speeding up, and then letting go, and it just slowed back down.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get off at the next exit. I'm going to turn off the car and turn it back on and see if it recalibrates.
Well, here, let's try this while we're here. Take it off of self-driving, so drive it yourself. You have to take it out of self-driving. Put it back on self-driving.
Yep, it's staying high.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's what computer, you always tell me reboot. So I thought with the car, it's a reboot. Because it really is a massive computer.
Yeah. Oh, my mom and I just had an amazing rib dinner at Memphis Barbecue Company in Mississippi, of all places. It's just outside of Memphis, but it is one of our favorite barbecue spots for ribs. They are delicious. We're gonna stay around the Memphis area tonight, and then tomorrow we'll make it to Franklin, Tennessee for the end of the trip. This is our final charge of the trip. We're getting some extra battery so that when we get to my mom's house in Franklin, we will have a little bit extra in case we have to run errands and things. She doesn't have her charger set up at the house quite yet, so she and the dogs are over there, and I think we only have about an hour and a half left of this cross-country journey. So this is one of the problems we've been having with the Tesla finding parking on its own. It doesn't always find the best parking spot, but then as you can see, these spots are diagonal and it parked straight in perpendicular. So it needs some work there. We finally made it. Los Angeles, California to Franklin, Tennessee. Just over 2,000 miles of driving, almost, I would say 99% or more at FSD, so full self-driving. You know, I did have to take over a few times when we would miss an exit, the GPS would get screwed up, or the car would just get confused in certain places, like parking lots when we were at Buc-ee's at one time. Outside of having to slow down into construction zones, we never had an incident where I felt like we were going to hit something, we were in danger, or I needed to take over because of some safety issue. FSD in that regard was fantastic. I would say the Achilles heel of FSD right now is the GPS system. It is the reason why we missed a number of those exits, or the car would get lost in a parking lot or something like that. It just didn't know where things were. Plus the GPS would take us on really strange routes that I had to route us around and fix. So there were just little things like that. But the cross-country road trip really kind of showed us how good the FSD system is right now. My mom, since getting 14.2, has done just over 2,700 FSD miles. So 97% of her driving since she got FSD 14.2 has been self-driving, which says something. And she never once has had an issue. Now, again, over 2,000 of those miles were cross country, so we did most of that, but still, it's pretty incredible. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Now, I would love to know down in the comments below if you have tried FSD, and if you haven't, would you? I know I've talked to a number of people that say they'd be nervous to let themselves or let the car just drive them around, but after these 2,000 miles on the road, I would feel 100% comfortable just taking a nap and letting the car do its thing once it's allowed to be unsupervised, which I'm really looking forward to. Well, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos about the things that we do, head on over to We're the Russos. We'll see you next time. Bye. Wait, you're still here? Well, I guess that means you're in need of a good book, and I've got two for you. Take Risks and Tales from the Open Road, available on Amazon and pretty much anywhere else you can buy books these days.